I was mogged by Five Guys cheeseburger this morning that was cold, post Five Guys burger from last night, double, extra meat, and fries. I'm not kind of falling off the wagon with the looks maxing, a little bit. But I think also like net calories because of the Retta, I'm not eating that much. So ordinarily I would easily be able to crush both those burgers last night. Just as a few days ago, I ate half a pizza that I could easily have ordered like 2 pizzas, eaten the whole thing, and saved the next one for the next day. And I ate half of one. So there is that like Retta safeguard of your stomach shrinking that protects against being a gluttonous fat bastard. It's a prophylaxis against your willpower and your stress eating. You're stress eating. Just like a girl that has bulimia, like that weird Hallmark movie where the girl throws up in the jars. I think she's like a famous actress. I want to say it's like Jennifer Connelly. And then, or maybe that girl that got MS from Cruel Intentions, Selma Blair. But you then have the shrinking stomach. Your eating disorder issue of like being stressed out is like nullified by the Retta. And last week I took extra, so maybe the fact that I'm eating, like I'm choosing to eat these foods that the prerequisite of which is hunger. I would not have ordered them last week. I think it's also that I'm putting enormous amounts of stress on myself. I lowered my testosterone dose. Anxiety's coming in, almost like it would if I was off of it, but not as bad as that. So yeah. Oh, then I was going to do my posterior mandible angle radius injections today to get that kind of like. I used to do them every 2 weeks, and then someone said I looked ridiculous. I looked like I had like a triangle in my face upside down, a girl. So I listened to her and I let it fade for like 6 to 8 months. It was great, and then eventually it faded. So the compounding plus the testosterone, the master muscle growing, like it was not necessary. But then over time it started to fade, and so now I'm in a weird spot where my weight isn't quite like where it should be, and like adding extra here would just kind of like bloat my face a little bit because the collagen will just so yeah, it's a weird spot. I was supposed to do it today, but I hung out with someone for like a late lunch, and I was like, I don't really like doing it in case I go blind past 3:00 in the afternoon. Every time I do it, I'll like go outside to see the sun just in case I blind myself. Like one of the dangers of fillers is the you having occlusion, so you like block the blood vessels, or it goes like to your retina, and then it it blinds you. And it's fillers that are like polymethacrylate spinach and bovine collagen. That's the like PMMA. And then you have the bone cement, which is calcium hydroxyapatite, which is a naturally occurring substance that they've made into radius. You can't dissipate that with something that as a safety measure. Like hydrolase a doctor will inject that into you if you have a side effect from hyaluronic acid fillers like Juvederm. You can't do that with radius. But this angle also isn't really applicable to up here. I did find, though, when I would inject after my autoimmune disorder, I'd get like blurry vision or an immune reaction, which would freak me the fuck out, but is unrelated to that, like collusion, like the normal side effects. So yeah, it's okay. Stressed out. No need to do it today. Probably not lean enough, anyways. Though I am, despite appearances, the weight's coming off. It is coming off. Now, am I losing weight this week? Probably not. That's a fair assessment. Probably not. Am I eating at maintenance? I'm very close. I'm going to go for a walk, get 10,000 steps in after the pod, or whatever you wish to call this medium, ranting to no one. And then I'm going to go on my walk, get 10,000 steps in, which I think should burn most of the double cheeseburger, if not give or take 200 calories. I did have breakfast today, had 4 pieces of toast, bacon, and sausage. But if you add it together, I don't eat anything else, and I'm going for a walk, it's got to be a net negative. I mean, 10,000 steps is, a solid walk. Take 500 calories off that. It's got to be, 2,000. I mean, call the burger 1,000 calories if you want. Call breakfast 1,500. I've got to be at 2,000. My maintenance has got to be like 23, 24, conservatively speaking. I'm 6'6", So there's that. Let's check the tape. I like the idea of streaming where you have an impulse to stream and then you don't write it down and then it comes up naturally. Today, it was like I should stream as much as I can. And I had some ideas, but I'm also stressed out, so I didn't write them down. And this fucking company, this online payment processor, wants me to put my home address, because on the application I casually put the DBA as my home address. I'm like, I'm not putting that out there. Well, then you have to redo the application. I'm like, why don't you just let me use a registered agent? Just chill out. Let's be reasonable here. I made a mistake in the application, big whoop. Here's my home address, okay? Here's my registered agent address. Let's forget the home address, use registered agent so that weirdos don't show up to my house. Is that okay? Is that KYC enough for you? Let's look at the markets. Some interesting activity in Intelia popped up a little bit today. I like that. I liked fresh kind of holding steam on a rough day. It looks like it's trying to break down, but it's, there's some support there. A lot of volume coming in on the recent drop, so that's positive. ADMA, the same thing. Good news. Still got some buyers here on the drop from earnings, which were positive and reaffirming guidance. In fact, they raised guidance, I think. The same thing with Sarepta. It's okay, our fourth quarter was down, but we're reiterating our guidance for next year. Our fourth quarter was down due to supply chain issues, Also, the whole scary thing of people dying. And hey, by the way, if you have muscular or Duchenne's muscular dystrophy and your kid's getting your drug, there are these kids that died. That might have scared some people off temporarily. No one in the in the ambulatory group died. Just non-ambulatory with comorbidities. The kids were about to die and they needed the medication. They let them get the medication for the emergency use. What's that called? Compassionate care. Experimental. Go for it. The kid's about to die. He has already elevated liver enzymes because he has the flu and COVID and whatever, heart palpitations, and he dies. Okay, understandable. That's what's supposed to happen, really. But then, it caused this whole issue. But the stocks rebounded nicely. I think it fell from 24-ish to below 20 temporarily, or below 21. It's popped back up to 21.89. SMCI is languishing. Just languishing. And it's I've taken so much off that position. My cost basis is $48 a share. It's at 28. It's a small position. I just don't want to buy any in case it's I think it's worth 80 or 100. So if I'm wrong, I'd rather just eat it and just take it. I don't want to buy any more on the dip here. I'm concerned about data processor, competitors coming in. People don't like this company because of some of their accounting issues in the past. I'm just going to stay away from it. Even though I think there's deep value there, it is a sketchy company, objectively speaking. But what did they affirm? 10 billion in Q2 or something, or Q1? I don't remember. It's okay. They might be on a different calendar. I can't remember. But it's 10 billion. If you're really affirming these numbers, it's incredibly undervalued. So Asperion went down a lot. No reason to. There's a JP Morgan Health Conference. All these stocks flew up and then are coming back down to earth a little bit. Biohaven, same thing. AVXL, I'm kind of like to see that below through $2 a share eventually. We'll see. That's the um, failed Alzheimer's, I think, or Parkinson's drug. ASRT, I like to see it. They popped up. They had a good day. They're up 9% today? Unusual volume? Yeah, a little bit. Not much. A little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting companies out there. I will say that one of the things from the Airbnb call I liked a lot was that the what's his name? Kershke, who's the Airbnb founder? Yeah, Chesky. Chesky was on the call, and he was saying that like 50% of the gross bookings in the last 2 quarters were not related to like accommodation. They were like experiences. So their omni-channel approach and adding things like hire a photographer, go have a picnic somewhere, these types of things, like kind of Groupon-ish, they are obviously working. I don't know if you can tell, but I took an Adderall, so maybe I'm like a little wired. That's kind of probably going to throw it off. I never felt Adderall did well. Like doing cocaine before an open mic in Washington, D.C., when you're up against Nick Mullen coming off stage before Come Town was popular, it's just not a good idea. The Adderall was for me getting a little pumped because I was like looking at my phone way too much, staring at videos. I'm currently banned off Twitter. So I'm just like, you click start the 7-day clock. Start going through stuff. Didn't watch Nick's show last night when he came back. I decided to watch the clips. Looked very good. Reiterating that this is the year where censorship's coming back. He might be right. It sounds like, the system lost containment, lost control. So I do think that is a prominent issue, whether that's the kind of algorithm pushing up people that are controlled fringe or controlled opposition, whatever you wish to call it, simulacrums, doppelgangers to people that are genuine, and that will look like it's not censorship. Or, as I've said before, I said this in a Substack, that it is this kind of like false equivalency of the system itself. The town square has an algorithm attached to it where you think that you are reaching all these people. You're not. You're reaching like-minded racists, and you guys are all appeasing each other, and you're basically Pavlovian dogs getting your end, and then you just go back to your lives. So instead of actually like going to the White House and throwing like, I don't know, javelins at the residents, at like 11 o'clock at night, whatever it is you're going to do as a crazy person, you're not doing that. You're just like sending off a tweet and be like, well, that's my revolution for today. That's my contribution to the civil unrest. That's my civil disobedience. Do you see how like cucked that is? And like you don't realize that you're a drug addict? Like you're a drug addict. Like that's what that is. You're getting addicted to the algorithm of an app with a fake bot that likes your tweet about how, I don't know, Renee Good deserved to die or something. You know what I mean? Like that's the delusion. Like it's really, really dumb. I don't think people really understand that. It's tough. It's like really tough to see like people that you talk to every day are online more than anyone else, and you're online with them to talk to them. They're all at the face hugger phone thing, and you're just stuck in that loop. You want human interaction, you have to do it through the proxy of the digital interface. Now, if you're kept, what you should be doing is going out to drink wine all night and have lots of liquids in front of you at a nice like Bistro Francais in Georgetown. Have like a coffee, a red wine, have a little tart. You can do all this without gaining weight. it's all about like indulging one end and like lowering the food. Just take some Retta, have some red wine, find yourself a BPD Arto. You'll have a great life. Nice long dinners, lots of friends. Maybe get into like, acting or something, or pretend to be an actor, be a writer. Smoke cigs, smoke cigars, smoke cigarillos like I do. Whatever it is, just smoke and chill and enjoy life and make people laugh at your own expense. Go travel well. Live in the real. It's almost like if you're rich and you can like sleep with the most beautiful women, travel to the nicest hotels, you don't need to look at your phone, right? So if this is a secondary simulation of something else, like this is not base reality, this world, then what happened to the progenitors of the access points of the technology? You know what I mean? Like if we're a simulation inside a simulation, now we're building our own simulation inside the simulation. And the Prometheus is like Elon Musk or ChatGPT or whatever, like, they don't need to be part of the system. So what makes them, do they merge into the system through the singularity? And that the matrix is a prison that people voluntarily enter because it's more exciting than the real world. And then the elite become like infinite, like they become godly, they don't die. And then they project simulations of themselves onto the rest of the world. So that's why like that 1900s children's book about the Trumps exists, because that is like some god in the simulation outside, or the simulation progenitor creating the kind of token for someone to find that out in this version of the simulation. And they then project a Trump onto this, which is a kind of hologram of themselves. And like there's this like repeated cycle. And like these people tend to have this like strong lineage towards primogeniture and nepotism, because that is the progenitors of the simulation like making that happen. And we are like ghost cells or extracellular vesicles or ghosts of previous failed people. We're all NPCs, but we have the impression that we're not. We are remnants of like the masses existing in the real. Does that make sense? They are aware, the people outside of it, that there's a hologram and stuff, but the people maybe that are elites here are aware of that as well. We are not. That's the only way the system works. And then like in a philosophical version of this, you have like Kantian philosophy, or like altruism is never real. There's the Machiavellian precept, that are very dark. And so you have all these control mechanisms for social behavior that are designed to maintain that status quo for the sake of the system. But at what point does the system become mundane and kind of boring? I don't know. Sorry, that's really random. Is that like an Adderall thought? I wouldn't really phrase things like that, but it's interesting. I think that there's like multiverse, You think of like invariants, like non-deterministic and deterministic LLM models, and like why models differ based off of like the compute consecutive inputs, like from different systems that affect kind of like batch weighting of like compute power. maybe that's why people that are girls that are Scorpio are batshit crazy, because like the one system of sorting for that compute to like input that person back into the matrix, or their variant of their soul, or their likeness, is like the calendar. So Capricorns are Capricorns, Scorpios are crazy. Like that's like just the thing they do to make things neat, because you have to have some sort of spreadsheet in the beginning that's like very simple. I don't know. Maybe. The weird thing then becomes like the deterministic quality of that is like, if you were to believe that and take it to its logical conclusion, not effectually, but actually deeply like believe it, like come to the realization that that's true and really believe it, not just like ponder the hypothetical. Can you break away from that like predestination? Because the system would have to be more or less predetermined with slight variance. Could you have so much self-attention to yourself and like an LLM or a simulation to where you can break away and upset the entire system's architecture? Or basically have like the sort of gradient descent where you destroy everything and you create a chaotic weapon of distortion, kind of like Neo in the Matrix. Interesting. How much of that is realistic, though, if you're just like a tax accountant? Are you supposed to like kill your neighbor's dog and like bomb the White House because you realize the Matrix? That's just where they put you in the loony bin. We've seen this before, right? That doesn't, like, it seems like that reality, which is like a very fun like anecdote, is just a crazy person that goes to prison, and then like the system's designed to protect itself from the people that like actualize. And not all of them are actually. Some of them are actually crazy, which gives like plausible deniability to like the idea that there is no such thing. Right? No, there is such a thing. And those people that generally believe that, by and large, are crazy. So pay no mind. Really also interesting about like social rules, like the sample size of like a simulation without it would be either really boring and not congruent with like fun variability, because it would be too like, it would end too quickly from like chaos, like nuclear war or just bloodshed. So you have to create these artificial rules to maintain the system's like kind of duration. Yeah. That's interesting. Clav streaming. Let's see. He's playing dice in the ghetto? That's so dangerous, man. It's just so like, well, these people might like, the guys in the ghetto they're playing dice with at their house. They might have done something, and then you get like crossfire when the drive-by. This literally looks like Friday, where the drive-by happens. Like these type of, you have like this gated fence as your yard fence. You don't see that in the Hamptons or Nantucket, and it's also like too small for a pit bull. It's like really low to the ground. It's such a useless fence. And there's a cement walkway up to their house. You actually have the drainage system going down the walkway out to the curb. Oh, it's just brutal. But their outfits are very colorful. They are wearing like, $1,000 worth of brands, but someone could come by and can cap them. That could happen. And then there's no clavicular. There's no more looks maxing. I don't know. Is he really on 2,000? 2,000 milligrams is so much. My head would explode. I don't know, because of the autoimmune disorder, like what testosterone does, whether my disliking higher doses is because it exacerbates my autoimmune disorder and defeats the purpose of me being on it, or like I love it at those doses. I've also heard some people say they don't like the middle range doses between 100 and 200, but when they go to like 300, they feel like $1,000,000. When I cycled Turinabol, John Jones's steroid, I really liked it. I had like a couple days of like complete relief of my symptoms. So that's a DHT derivative, or it basically does not aromatize into estrogen. So you're getting this high DHT spike. Anti-inflammatory, maybe it does something to suppresses the immune system, like the T helper cells, like the vitamin D I'm taking now. I'm the Coimbra protocol. That's a new thing I'm thinking about, like 20 milligrams a day of vitamin D, but I can't drink coffee with milk because it pulls all the calcium out of me. And if I do that, I'll have like gallbladder, gallstones, or whatever they call them. And that'll be very painful. I also can have some sort of like toxicity. I don't know if it's neuro, but something. So I have to be mindful of a lot of riboflavin, a lot of vitamin K2, which last time I did that, I got everything called the bones in your like palate grow. That's kind of shitty, but I'm doing what I have to do. But 20 milligrams is nothing. That's like the low end. There are guys who are on it like 400,000 milligrams or IUs of vitamin D3 for an autoimmune disorder, and it's worked. It's helped them. I love how they're like too, like you have to do this under a doctor's supervision. What the doctor going to do? What doctor gives you vitamin D for anything? They're going to like chat GPT it, like, do it, don't do it, whatever. I want everyone to be healthy. I've taken so many drugs to try to fix myself. It's so scary. I've taken research chemicals and injected them and gone to the hospital and said, I just injected this. Please watch me so I don't die. It's because of like access to medicine. Like you just like, there's certain things you just can't, like people have done well with them. You can't access them. So you have to like lie to like a research chemical company to take a drug to like try to save your life and like your cognition and your ability to have be a contributing member of society, to save your brilliance. If once upon a time people thought you were really, really, really intelligent and you're, a lot of potential, and like, your ability to reach that potential is kind of like capped because you're sick all the time and your energy levels are lower. Yeah. Maybe you just do whatever it takes. Maybe that's the career arc. Maybe like, in the end, you cure something, you give people like kind of the measure for that. You write a book, and then you're like doing that whole washed out like life of leisure thing. Like you give yourself a break. Of course, for me, once I feel healthier and healthier, I want to work more and more. And then it's just like, okay, when do I stop? Like, do I ever get to $100 million? Can I stop before I get to like $25 million? You know what I mean? Like, and feel like I deserve that. I hope so, but all the things that men enjoy, like war and games and stuff, it's like about like investing and like researching things and like strategy. So it's like the hustle never ends, like you're like, what are you supposed to do? Go play golf? Yeah, play golf like competitively. You take it really seriously. I just don't see myself ever like doing something where it's not like, okay, now I have a coach and I'm trying my best. Like I'm just going all in. It's not an addictive thing. I don't think it's just like, I think to do anything well, you really have to go all in, even if it's writing like a children's book. You can't half-ass shit. It isn't to say you can't do more than one thing at once, but you're doing them purposely for them to be good. One of my problems, I think it might be like a fear of failure thing, that I like hedge my bets and do lots of things, but I don't think of it that way cognitively, like cognizantly. I'm not in like the consciousness. I think of it subconsciously maybe, but I like enjoy so many different things. I'm very ADD. I'm very, before the inflammation, the autoimmune disorder, very, very creative. And to not pursue different like mediums of exercising that and exploring that is kind of like painful. But then you don't you're a master of none because you don't like focus on just one thing night in and night out. And there's people like 10 years of just like doing the same thing and getting no results. And there's other things you do to offset the fact that you get no reciprocity of benefaction. And then it makes you think that maybe you should like do multiple things and be not good at anything. But no, probably you should just do the thing you were working on for 10 years and cut out everything else and just keep going. And eventually the gods will give you the right to like buy a house and then like, you know, go on vacations and not worry about how much the bill is, you know, like maybe that's it. But do you sacrifice like the journey in doing that? Like, you know, quality of life because you're not pursuing other things? Like maybe you like to paint. Maybe you know, I don't know. You want to be on the like senior tour in golf and you want to try, so you take some time. I knew a kid that was an amateur baseball player in England, and he told Goldman Sachs, they were recruiting him, he told Goldman Sachs no, and the guy there, Michael Mortara, who passed away, was like, don't worry, there's a seat for you here, go play baseball, you know, we'll be here when you're done. And so basically they're like, they really liked this person, thought he was very bright, and Mr. Mortara used to put a whoopee cushion in people's chair at Goldman, and that's like to ease the tension of the interviews. He wasn't like an interviewer, he was like going to be head of fixed income North America before he died, and Lloyd Blankfein took that over. But he did interview talent, like very prestigious talent at times, as all general partners or managing members, whatever the fuck you call them, general partners, I guess, they do. So yeah, it's very interesting. Sorry, the notifications like just popped like 8 of them. Should I go to my chat? I should probably see just in case there's anything here. Let's check it. But Sir Sweet doing interesting. Asmongold, what's going on?
Yeah, you're right, because a lot of this probably was recorded, it just wasn't uploaded. That's a really good point.
Is this Iran?
Shame on you? Yeah, I bet.
What is it?
It's an actual PvP server over there. Holy shit. People out of their mind. Oh my god.
It's gotta be Iran.
Who are they shooting at? Anybody who they think are problems, basically. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. It's probably not super specific. This is what totalitarianism look like? Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy that whenever you see something like this and you compare it to what those Karens are protesting against inside of Minneapolis while they're screaming at police officers? It's unreal. Too bad they stopped using pagers. Yeah, they stopped using pagers because they're dead. I think that people don't realize how much, and that's another good point, right, is that they don't realize how much damage that the U.S. and Israel has already done to the Iranian government. Like, we killed, like, their top 50.
That's true. Like, what is it, a year and a half ago, the chief of their, like, military strategy, or I don't know his title, he died in a random helicopter accident, like, landing. Sabotaged. I don't even know what the ground forces here. This uprising, who are they? Are they paramilitary people from like outfits that we hire, like mercenaries? Are they ISIS people, which I think is a mercenary outfit for the West? Is it Mossad? Is it a mix of some Iranian dissidents, which seems kind of not likely? Maybe there are some, and they're being incentivized and funded by the greater Israel, regime in Saudi Arabia, because they know that like the writing's on the wall. Like, one of the things about being like outwardly anti-Semitic, which is borderline retarded, just for the sake of being anti-Semitic, is that Israel's winning. Like, they're winning. The power's there, the banking's there, the infrastructure's there. It just is dumb to be anti-Semitic. Like, to be like hateful. Like, like Lily Gaddis anti-Semitic, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever, racist, everything. Like this, like, hey, yeah, you can point out, hey, okay, they're winning the game. They're hypocrites. They kind of pretend like there's no, their shit doesn't stink. Okay, that's marvelous, but it's like reading the paint. Like, it's red. The room is red. Okay, that's not very intelligent. You know what I mean? The more interesting thing is, if you feel like this is the end of the empire, the end of the Soviet Union, like, there's a power grab for resources. And I think some of the resources may not be classically economic, just sheer power. Like stealing a business from someone that might be out of business because of AI. If people that have the money to buy that business are not going to buy it because of AI, like robots, why the fuck would you? Like, if your idea is like, oh, I'm going to buy this, steal this business from someone, steal this like small town and like, Ulyanovsk off the Volga River in Russia at the fall of the Soviet Union and turn it into like a mafia underground for like drug smuggling, whatever else, and confiscate some, everyone's like gold and whatever, kill some of the rich people and take a couple $100 million, whatever. The businesses themselves, the infrastructure is like, might be falling by the wayside. This sort of idea of universal basic income or universal wealth, it's just nonsensical. It's a subsidized variant. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like there's way too many people, and they're less necessary than ever before. And there's a power grab going on. I don't mean that like an anti-Christian sense. I mean that like the means of production are no longer human. The human GDP per capita is going to go down. How do you protect yourself? You really got to go for it. You get assets, IP. You got to go for it. That's it. Like, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. You have to fucking go for it. And get some resources for yourself. Start a business, whatever. But like right now, like, we know what the Iranian thing is with the Greater Israel policy, the Abraham Accords. We get it. And it's just playing out. And it's like, we already know about this. The fake uprisings that are just like timed. It's just, we know about Venezuela. We know about the offshore oil reserves that are not the largest exporter of cocaine in South America. Give me a break. Colombia does not have the largest offshore oil reserves. So, interesting. Bolivia does not have it. Sinaloa cartel does not have it. So, you don't think that we could go into Mexico and that Mexico wouldn't be like Afghanistan is one thing. Mexico, dude, we could just annex northern Mexico. Annex northern Mexico and make it like there is no border. And that's all military. Then what are you going to do? It's like the entire border is the U.S. military. We just set up bases in northern Mexico. That's it. Period. Much harder to smuggle drugs. Infinitely harder. But we don't do that. We don't annex it. It's interesting, isn't it? If you were to annex like northern Mexico across the border, put a bunch of military bases there, and then force the borders to be through like a paramilitary organization that's like allows for civilian transport, far less traffic. Not even close. We couldn't go in and knock out some drug cartels in the mountains of Chihuahua. Give me a break. Come on. Of course we can. But it's not really important at the moment. Also, it's kind of anti-diplomacy or anti-democracy. Like, the spread of Americanism as a product is like democracy. It has to have a pretense of liberation or protectionisms for the innocent, like the Kurds. As if we gave a fuck about people living in like huts and like, like these like disenfranchised people. We didn't give a shit about the Palestinians. It's all about what is the pretense and what is our intention. If our intention outweighs like benevolence, then we don't push that story. You never hear about it. So, it's very interesting. But yeah, let's see. Let's check. It is marvelous how people are like filming these battles to get people to be interested in the West. Like, someone in Iran is filming a firefight and then sending that content off, and it's on CNN. Like, It's a little on the nose. Oh, we must protect these innocent people just trying to fight for their right to be ruled by Israel. Like, it's just like, what? What is this? Give me a break. Let's go to Twitter. Yeah, but you can't charge a 50% sin tax on OnlyFans because what people will do is just incorporate themselves. Like, this is just so dumb. Like look at the tax shelters for Floridians, like the Homestead Act, and how difficult it is to like penetrate a Florida LLC. Give me a break. I like Adam's on the plane. He's like, I'm not mayor anymore. Go fuck yourself. That's pretty funny. Earlier today, I think Trump was at a Detroit auto plant, and one of the workers said, how does it feel to be a pedophile protector? He told the guy to go fuck himself. I like that. He's an ephebophile protector, people. I'm not going to get into it, but it's way different. Virtually every guy's an ephebophile. Doesn't mean you date a 16, 17-year-old. It means that you like can see that they're like attractive. There's like the delusion of like, I don't know, older women past their sexual prime saying that's disgusting. It's like when you were 19 and you dated a 17-year-old, that was normal. When you're 25 and you see a 17-year-old, it's like you don't have to date them when you're 40. I understand this, but to objectively say that Brooke Shields in Blue Lagoon or whatever wasn't attractive, then how the fuck was that movie popular? Was it all pedophiles seeing it? Were they like, oh, well, I didn't know she was 17. Oh, or 14 when they made that movie. I didn't know. Oh, well, she's pretty though, right? Oh, yeah, she's very beautiful in that movie. Oh, but she's 14. Oh, well, what I mean is she's a beautiful young lady, and I wish her well. It's like, dude, it doesn't mean you're a monster or that you're focused on dating 15-year-old girls. It is interesting that the modeling agencies force women to retire at the age of 30. Why do they do that? Because of cash flow issues. They invest in women that have a long duration. Women after the age of 30, collagen starts to fade. You know, if stress makes women's collagen go down, this doesn't happen with men. And they look at a 14-year-old like, we're going to invest and fly her around the world for 15 years. That's a better return on our money, right? Because they don't have to force the cannibalization factor of pushing a 30-year-old while they're pushing a 14-year-old, right? Because it's like, okay, they kind of cancel each other out. We have to gradually find the new Kate Moss, and this is the cycle. It never ends, right? The show never fucking ends. So, yeah, like, it's just, you know, I mean, Epstein probably had like good taste in women, like tall, lanky, young women. I don't think they were 12 years old. I don't. And if someone can prove that one of them was just like a fucking gold digger. She got paid $3 million and then like years later said she was a victim. And yet she dated Harvey Weinstein. She did all these people. It's like, oh, I was a victim. I didn't realize it. Oh, really? Wow. Because they were giving you tons of money and paying your rent and like buying you like a fucking Ferrari. Dude, give me a break. Give me a break. It's like, it's so amazing how like men never like victimize themselves, but women do. And they say men and women are equal, but men can't get away with victimizing themselves like that. People just laugh at you. Women can. Well, why is that? It's, you know, it's like, you're going to tell me that Gisele Bundchen or what's her name? She gave me a kiss on my 21st birthday party at Marquee in New York City. She gave me a kiss on the cheek. What's her name? She dated Derek Jeter. What the fuck? I can't remember her name. Oh my God. Anyway, she found out it was like my kid's birthday party, and she's like, "Oh, she asked who it was, and she wanted to. I guess went out of her way to make it like, the time of my life and give me a kiss and make all my friends jealous. So it was very nice, and she wished me a happy birthday, Adriana Lima. It's like, Adriana Lima, where did they find her when she was 30? Give me a break. They found her when she was like whatever, and they pushed her, and she was like 5'11" since she was like 15 or whatever, however tall she is. That's the point. The Mossad brilliance of the whole Epstein, the Lolita Express thing is that all models in New York have to be 5'9". It gives the plausible deniability that they are of age. And so you can entrap men that normally would not do that based off of statutory violations, not like objectively prepubescent girls. No, they are young girls that statutorily speaking, it is a crime. And these are men that make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. There is no going to the FBI and saying extortion. There is reciprocity there on both sides. Yes, you could probably do that, but you're still going to lose everything. And your wife's going to leave you with hundreds of millions of dollars in divorce fees. That's the problem. Horniness is not a man's best friend. That's why you stop getting horny when you get older. I don't think it's just like you don't need to. You want to settle down. It's like, no, you do stupid things when you're horny. Really stupid things. Like on testosterone, like you're kind of too horny at a certain level. The horniness is like, I'm going to take this 5.5 and I'm going to fly her to Miami for the weekend. And then I'm going to like date her sometimes. And it's like, why? Well, what are you doing? Like you're so horny. You're just like, everything's a blur. You don't focus on yourself. Like you're like your general dopaminergic like neurons are firing the wrong way. Lower the dose, or just you get older, quality over quantity. It's like smarter, I'd argue. I think like high testosterone to a certain level. There's a whole chart on this that's like a natural occurring chart, and there's one outlier, this guy who has like 1,200 tests and like 180 IQ. Who the fuck was that guy? I'm willing to bet he was on TRT. He was already smart. IQ is innate. It doesn't change, right? Your aptitude doesn't change. So he's like, that has to be it. Naturally speaking, 600, IQ 120 plus, beautiful. You're going to make some bad decisions at like 160, 170, 180 for most people. Anyways, I digress. Okay, how long have I been streaming? 47 minutes. Iran's about to fall, probably. Nick's mustache/beard looks fantastic. Just very good. Lost a lot of weight over the holiday. I need to catch up. Yeah. I don't know. I'm tired. I want to go for a walk. I'm going to get some dinner. Night-night.